Hey everybody, welcome to Married with Kids, where we're hitting many of the most common and sometimes crazy challenges that we're facing in our marriages and as parents. I'm Mark Brewer, I'm your host today, and joining me all the way from sunny Florida is the indomitable Andrea Lathrop.
Hi.
That's a good intro, right? That indomitable thing, that's like multiple syllables.
Yeah, that's a great adjective. I don't totally understand it, but I'm very excited to be with you, doing this with you. You know, I realized the other day, Justin and I have been friends with you and Melanie for over 20 years.
Yes, that's a long time. Some people hadn't even lived that long.
That's true. That's very true. So, and I love the subject matter that we're talking about. I feel very challenged by being married with kids.
Yes.
So,
Well, we've all had a lot of journeys in that. And what's interesting is just recently, you and I, like many people, have had a career change.
yes, a career addition.
Yeah, it wasn't it right. It was an add-on to whatever the other career was. And you became a teacher all of a sudden.
Yes. Yeah. Still waiting for my call from HR to kind of talk me through it all. But
Well, I was thinking all of us have now, at some level, if we've got kids at the house, become some type of instructor, coach, principal, disciplinarian, counselor. I don't know. Teaching kind of embraces a lot of that. How is that working for you guys there at the Lathrop Landing?
yeah, I'd say it's a mixed bag. I think we have had some really sweet moments and gifts from it. And then there's been some pains and some challenges. There's a lot of togetherness,
Yeah.
which is beautiful and hard.
Well, I remember you liking people, but you also like to have some white space and some
Yeah.
compartmentalization. So, how's that working with your two kids that are decidedly different in the way they kind of seize the day? What's the challenge there?
Yeah. Well, they're very different. One of my kids needs very little from me other than enough snacks and drinks available. And then another one needs a lot of check-ins and some structure. And
Are you talking about Justin?
yeah. So I'm not going to name, yeah.
If you don't know everybody, Justin is her husband. He's a good guy. You were describing what I thought was Justin, but okay, back with the kids.
Yeah, no, it does apply, I think, actually.
Okay, so there have been some challenges, but you're finding a way to make it work. The bumping into each other and kind of all access, all time is what I'm hearing from a lot of people that's really tough. There's not much compartmentalization. You know, my struggle has been a little bit different than some of my friends, including you. I've got a junior, she's heading into her senior year, and I've got a senior heading off to college, and he's got, just a little bit of time left. My biggest challenge is they're annoying me. They're not getting up till 12 or 1 o'clock in the afternoon to do their work, and I'm thinking, why are you not up? You need to get up and get something done with your life. So most of mine is kind of secret because I'm not doing much instructing. But it's interesting. All of us are facing different challenges in this season.
Yeah.
So I'm really excited about our friend that we brought in today, the expert in the field, the one that has a lot of experience outside the home, but also in the home. And our resident expert, she's going to be joining us next.
Yes, we're so excited to have our longtime friend and educator, Loralei Hoggard, or just for
Yes.
students, Mrs. Haggard. Loralei, we're so happy to have you with us to kind of help
Thank
us
you.
out.
Yeah, this is fantastic. You look like you're in a classroom there. The backdrop, it looks very creative.
I am in a children's area. That's right. Yes.
Yes.
How long have you been teaching and how long have you been parenting? Can you remind us?
Yes, I have been in education for 20 years and I have been parenting for 21 years. So I have a lot of
Okay.
experience.
Wow, that's so good. And I appreciate overachievers like you who start parenting and teaching at age 5. It's just wow. It's hard to understand how
That's
you were able to
sweet.
pull that off.
I
Okay,
do
so
have,
help us out, Mrs. Hoggard. I think we're all struggling at some level and reeling a little bit. Can you help us with this adjustment we're all kind of having to manage of having, maybe for some of us, having children home and being in some ways responsible for their education.
Right, certainly, yes. It's very difficult, especially in this season of the pandemic crisis. A lot of us are having to put on different hats. Even myself, being in education for so long, I'm having to kind of change some of my roles and some of my actions toward my own children. I have 4 sons at home.
Wow.
So while doing that, I've been asked by a lot of friends, people like you guys who have come to me asking, how can I reach my children? How can I still have my life and, just fulfill my responsibilities at the same time as helping my children through this? And I have what I hope will be good, not only during this crisis that we're in, but just any time that you are in a position where you're having to educate your children at home. So probably one of the biggest things I would say is environment. You need to set the environment in your home that makes school important. You have a place to work and you have that attitude for work.
Hey, I'm gonna raise my hand like we're in school every once in a while, and that means that I have something really awesome to interject. When you
Yes,
said
okay.
environment, I totally get it, because that's why I have Heinz Field right behind me. This creates a tremendous workspace for me to really get business done.
So
Yes, and if it helps you focus, absolutely. So your location, just like what you pointed out, your location is very important. Probably sitting on the edge of your bed trying to do your math homework probably isn't very conducive to your work. But if you were to transition to the kitchen table, then that would be more helpful. But if you're going to use the kitchen table, go ahead and set it up as a school desk. Don't keep the dishes, the breakfast dishes on there, or snacks, or the Play-Doh, whatever you're doing, make it into a desk. So with that, you need to make sure that you have appropriate supplies for what you need. If you're going to be doing math homework, then you need pencils, you need erasers. You don't want a bunch of markers and crayons to do your math work. So make sure you have appropriate supplies. And one thing that I think is probably overlooked, especially right now with so many people having to stay home, is people, I don't feel like, are probably dressing for success. You need to go ahead and get out of bed, brush your teeth. There you go, Mark, just like that. Brush your teeth, eat your breakfast, get dressed. That way you kind of have that attitude more for just that work ethic that you're wanting. Yes, Andrea.
I think I have worn pants with zippers and buttons. Maybe today might be my 3rd day in like 6 weeks. And it really does. It is kind of a psychological, it's very helpful to.
So what I'm hearing, especially around this first one, is in order to be successful in this endeavor, you're probably going to need 5-10 minutes of just getting set up, whatever that means.
Right.
Okay.
Right. And I think it's important to take that time, which brings us to our next point. And this is something that both you, Mark, and Andrea brought up, is just setting a schedule that works for the family. During normal school hours, that's like an 8 to 3 slot that the kids are in school. You're able to get your job done, and then you're kind of used to when the kids are coming home, and you kind of, flow into that. But now you don't necessarily have to follow that 8 to 3 schedule. You need to figure out what works with the family. You have parents who are having to work from home, and they might need to do that from 8 to 10. Put off the schooling, put off the education for a few hours. You do not have to be set in a certain block. Also, with breaks and snack times and lunch times, just get that kind of schedule to where the kids can anticipate what is coming up and about how long it's going to be, because they're going to start to get frustrated. And if they get frustrated, you're going to get frustrated, and it just kind of snowballs from there.
Yeah, but can you make sure that we have a recess time too during the schedule, or is that possible at homeschooling?
Absolutely. Studies have shown that children need recess, and I would argue that adults need the recess also.
Yes.
So absolutely give yourself permission to take that break. Go for a walk, go outside and play with the dog, get a little exercise in, have a snack, take a nap, do whatever you need to do to take that break in your schedule.
You really had Andrea on the nap part. I'm not ain't gonna lie, dude. I could tell by her face that she was down for that part. Okay, so
Whatever works.
what's the
Whatever.
third one? We're moving on here to third piece.
Excellent. Yes. So remember that different ages of children need different types of monitoring and just different amounts of help. You might have, like I think Mark, your daughter is a senior in high school. She doesn't necessarily need you staying on top of her to get her work done. She's
She just needs to get up. She needs to get up and do something with her life.
Remember, you're setting your schedule.
I love her. I'm having grace. Yeah, we're working on it.
There you go. So the older children, the ones who are able to self-monitor a little bit more, just kind of make sure they have all the supplies they need, make sure that they have their environment set up. One of my sons, I don't have to worry about him. I just check on him, make sure he did wake up and he's on it. I don't have to do anything except just, slip him a soda every now and then. But one of my other children, I have to stay on top of him. He has to pull up his calendar, which brings me to a very important point. Go ahead and start teaching your children how to use planners and calendars and make lists. These are life skills that we are not born with. And even as adults, we use them. I think a lot of adults think that kids don't need to learn how to use these, but we use them as adults. So these are important life skills that they can benefit from. And keep in mind too, when you're monitoring, that doesn't necessarily mean that you are actively teaching them or helping them. Usually they kind of know what they're doing, especially if they're doing online studies. Sometimes you just need proximity to keep them on task and just to let them know, hey, mom's watching. She knows if I'm going to, not be doing my work. So I just need to go ahead and get this done.
Awesome.
Okay. So the fourth point that I have is everybody's education is important. And this is something that I've had to really work on for myself as a parent and a fourth grade teacher. I've been teaching fourth grade for a while. I need to remember that even though I have taught these subjects over and over and over again, my student has never gotten this subject. So it's still very, very important to them. And where I might be bored with letter identification and letter sounds, it's just as important to the kindergarten friend that's learning these as Algebra 2 is to our high school student. So just, making sure that everything to them, every bit of education is important and you need to honor that.
Yeah, that's so big, and I think it's really difficult. It's not just in the homeschooling, hey, all of a sudden I've got a new gear, but just in life, it is difficult to recall how long it took to get you to your current base of knowledge or understanding, and to walk that journey with kids or anybody else that you're helping kind of on ramp and into understanding a new subject. That's a really good one.
Right. And offering that validation to them, it just kind of gives them the pride in their work. And then they're just going to strive to grow more in that. So probably the final thing I have is, as an adult especially, guard your reactions when you get frustrated, because that's exactly
Don't do this kind of stuff. Like, don't get that. Okay. I'm just making sure, because some people don't know what that means, guarding reaction. So I just want to make sure they were clear on it.
Yes. Thank you.
I appreciate that. It's like when your student still doesn't understand that 3 + 3 is 6 and you're about to lose your mind. Guarding your reactions. Your kids are watching you, and they're going to react similarly to how you react. So, you might not understand something, ask questions, do research, ask the older student. I'm always bringing in older brothers to help with the younger brothers. There are some things that frustrate us that are completely out of our control, like this pandemic crisis that we're in right now. The internet might go down. Your electricity might go out. There's nothing you can do about that. So why get angry about that? Good. Hey, it sounds like it's time for a snack break. It sounds like it's time to go for a walk. So go do that. And pretty much just remember, grace for everybody, grace all around.
So do all of those things, but then over all those things or under all those things, have some grace.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Grace for yourself, even I'm not just saying toward your child, have grace for yourself. It's okay to not
Yeah.
know the answer right away.
Love
It's
it.
okay to get frustrated. Tell your child, I am frustrated right now. Let's work through this. That's another life skill. They need to learn how to navigate these little speed bumps that come up and, bring them in. It's like, Mom does not know how to do this problem. Let's research it together and figure it out.
Mm.
I love that.
I love that language, Loralei. That's so good. I think probably my biggest takeaway, because I've noticed when I start getting frustrated, or even just feeling weird or down, or just like this current season is never ending, or those kinds of feelings, like if I will just go outside and take a break. So I'm all about recess and going to be more intentional with both of my kids to get away from the computer, away from the work, and take some intentional breaks.
Yes.
Yeah.
Hey, thank you so much, Loralei. This has really been good because I think it's simple enough anchors for us to kind of grab onto, but they're pretty profound, and we could start unpacking those and immediately apply them. We love you so much, and I hope you keep being successful in the homeschooling realm, and in the future get an opportunity to jump back into the classroom outside of the house as well. We love you. Thank you for being here with us.
Yes, love y'all. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hey, seriously, in the words of my pastor, Scott Wilson, wow, man, that was so good. It really was. It was so fantastic. Hey, and I loved what you said about what's challenging for you, and you got to take a break, go outside, take a walk. I think the big thing, my takeaway, those were great key points. I'm not having to personally navigate through those 5 as much as the last statement where she said, hey, you got to have some grace. You got to have some grace for yourself. You got to have some grace for the other people, because if your schedule's been turned upside down in this, so has theirs, and they're not exactly that excited about it either, probably in some aspects. So, man, I thought it was fantastic, and it was great having her here today. You got any last thoughts you need to share with our adoring, loving audience joiners?
I'm also thinking about just pressing in with one of mine on the use of a checklist. He has some aversion to it, but I'm like, this is a good life skill, and you might not see the value of it, but we both need this. And I just understanding, like, this will serve him for the rest of his life, some of these skills. And
Right.
And yeah, always the grace thing has always been a challenge for me, and being able not to just give it to those around me, but also to myself. I think lots of people have used the word unprecedented with this time and this season. So I think that word's helpful for me to go, so that means we should be liberal with grace in this season, because it's new, it's unknown, and it's unprecedented. So
I love
grace.
Hey, thanks everybody again for joining us here today on Married with Kids, where we are hitting some of the most common and often the craziest challenges that we're facing in our marriages and in parenting. Look forward to seeing you next time.
Hi everyone. We hope that you've enjoyed today's episode of Married with Kids. If you would like to be a part of an upcoming show, just click the link in the description and submit your idea or comment. Each submission is an entry into our weekly giveaway, so click the link and tell us what you think. Also, if you're interested in beginning or growing in your relationship with the Lord, just visit our website, oaks.church. We'd love to connect with you.